Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hey, hola, bon dia, alegria. Look, I'm going to have to do the whole show with my head sticking around the corner or take that off the screen. How are you this morning? Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Yes, tudo bem? How are you? Como estás? I have to say, I'm feeling a little bit worse for wear. What a fantastic evening last night with the Rolo wine from the Douro region. Really, really good. Really enjoyed it. And it was my pleasure to have discovered a cheese board. This thing here. Which I'm holding up to the screen right now. These are really nice and a lovely product. Tabua de Queijos, a cheese board, and sporting the not sporting Lisbon, but sporting the Portuguese azulejo style, and 3 chunks of cheese on there, shrink wrapped, which give you. I'm going to do a review on this on the website. Ceramont cheese, Quinta de Olival, and Tres Igrejas, the 3 churches. The farm of Olival, what would that be? And Ceramont, what's that? Mountain Edge cheeses. Between them, those 3 cheeses have scooped 9 awards globally, I think. Certainly, world cheeses. There's World Cheese Awards. Really, I haven't enjoyed cheese like that for a very, very long time. On crackers, bit of butter, and some of those cheeses. And there's a mixture there of different types of goat cheese and different kinds of dairy. Sheep cheese, one of them's a sheep cheese as well. To go with the beautiful wine that we tried last night, this one here I'm holding up. See, there is some left. I didn't drink a great deal. It doesn't take much to get me a bit giggly, and we were very giggly last night. And there it is, the Rola. Vinho Tinto from the DOC, that is the Douro region here in Portugal. A lot of talk about whether the Douro is the best region or not last night, and it was great fun. This man was with us. We are continuing with the we're re-energizing the feature that was always quite popular. Who's the Gumper? This young fella was with us last night in his grown-up form, and very good value he was too. While we're doing those, let me download another. Whilst you're thinking, who is that? Let me just upload another to your screen. I've also got a fabulous video this morning from Darren. Thank you, Darren J, for sending us a beautiful video for a Porto sunset recently. I think you're enjoying yourself in the country, and I'll do that now. Let me just on my Nazaré picture as well. We were in Nazaré yesterday afternoon, which was really nice, and I took a photograph, one of my twisted perspective photographs that I like to take, but mainly it shows the lanes of Nazaré off in quite a dramatic way, and shows you that one of my favorite things about Portugal, I've decided, which is the beautiful blue sky, now that I'm seeing more of it. So there's one Guess the Gumper. Here's another. Who's this handsome fella? Couple of handsome fellas on the screen this morning for you. Who is that from the GMP community? A GMP VIP, bit of a clue. And that's a picture that he sent me, inspired by the other photo that we've been sharing, this one. Who are these gentlemen? And do send in your pics to 913-590-303. That's on the ticker tape now. Telling you also that it's our monthly shot of Tony time today. Tony Barbosa will be joining us. Antonio Barbosa will be joining us. Our man in the Minho, and another man from up north this morning, John H, will be joining us at 8:30. Oh, he's doing a sound check now. I don't know if you're on Spanish time, John, but see you in about an hour, yeah? I'm getting a thumbs up. Unless you thought you were joining me now at the past. No, we're good. We're good. This gentleman has been on the screen far too long now. Oh, where's the button for removing him? Let me show you the other one. Who is this guy? Who is that gentleman? A handsome fella, great shots, black and white, nice mono picture. Who is that Gumper? Guess the Gumper has returned. Another feature that's going to return. And actually, let me just talk to you about the new website because we can take our cue from the new remixed website. Really enjoyed sharpening up the website over the weekend. Welcome to GMP HQ. Good Morning Portugal, of course. Goodmorningportugal.com is where you can go and be treated to. On the left-hand side of the screen now, I have done an A to Z, which starts with blog and ends in Wise card. Quick links. I've put quick links to help you on the screen, as well as the news stories, news articles, which are now on the homepage on the right of the screen. And oh yeah, you can become a GMP VIP there as well, and link through to the Gumperverse. Yes, Owen, your wonderful photos that you've been sending us and that are now in a store, they are linked to in our own Gumper store as well. We've got our Gumper gallery, Gumper map, of course, the link through to Expats Portugal, all about the GMP, including the new videos, meet the team videos that we're starting to create as well, and the news and weather section, and all the ways we can help you. All there in lovely drop-down menus, and you'll see a story article. The world's oldest dog ever is Portuguese, which is going to help us to renew our Pooch and Pussy feature as well. So let me just bring on this new story of, actually, how rude of me. Let me just make sure everyone's doing okay in the chat this morning. And some good guesses. Roger Waters, his one guess. He's not, as far as I know, a Gumper or a GMP VIP. Do we need to make some people honorary GMP VIPs? I think we probably do, don't we? Coach Turner, Bon dia Gumpers, -3 here in Blighty. And we have a little inversion fog. Who doesn't like an inversion fog first thing in the morning? Probably not many people, actually, especially drivers. Yeah, keeping drivers on their toes. Hope it's warmer where you are. Well, not a great deal warmer. The nights are cold still, Coach Turner, much to my chagrin, but the days are becoming increasingly more beautiful, as this quick shot of Nazaré will show you. Look at that. If I take your comment off the screen there, mate, you can see this beautiful picture of the Nazaré blue sky yesterday. No filtering here. You can see the sea in the distance and that scrunched up perspective. I do like that angle on my mobile. But look at the color of that sky and how it meets the sea there. That's absolutely beautiful, but still chilly in the mornings and overnight until that sun comes up and starts to warm your bones. So -3 in UK. I think it's a bit warmer than that here. Yeah, I've got 8 degrees, it says on my computer. I don't know if that's inside the computer or giving me the information from a weather probe somewhere in the area. God Squad tip of the day. Yesterday, I suggested being with loved ones. All I want to do is have fun with my loved ones. It was important for your well-being. Today, I'm suggesting finding time alone. Take a few minutes to be quiet and to cut the noise. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. No, I'll do it after the show. That's a great tip, really good tip. That could be through meditation, mindfulness, or taking a walk through nature. Give your brain a break and it will reward you. Excellent God Squad tip of the day. Good stuff. Thank you very much for that. T-Duck is in, and let's start with talking of the brain and giving the brain a break. We're going to give it a little bit of a workout with a deep thought now. Whilst I've still got that Nazaré picture on the screen for you. Deep thought. The obedient always think of themselves as virtuous rather than cowardly. Ooh, Robert Wilson. Thank you very much. He was, of course, an American author, futurist, and psychologist. It's funny, isn't it, to think that people who were futurists, 50 years ago, are now ex-futurists, or were correct or incorrect, of course. Who are some of your favorite futurists and what ideas were they right about? The idea that we would be living in an age of leisure now with all the computers doing everything hasn't turned out to be entirely accurate, has it? Who are your favorite futurists and predictors? Who's your Nostradamus? Those sorts of people. What did they get right that you were alerted to some I was going to say some centuries ago? Yes, in a former life. No, in your current incarnation. Yes, your favorite predictions and predictors. Portuguese saying of the day: uma maçã podre apodrece cento. A rotten apple rots 100. Well, there's a ubiquitous sentiment there, of course. So yes, Tony limbering up. John limbering up, our guest today, with a special emphasis on the north of Portugal. The man in the Minho, and with his new feature now that he's in Portugal, John Heimbach, with what's cool up north this morning for the first time. We will find out. And of course, we shared that beautiful picture yesterday of him and the folks at the local shop, Grandpa João, Maria, and Maria's grandson. It was so lovely to see that picture. And they were clearly so pleased to see you as well. Okay, Ugu Nunu this morning, the temple, the Roman temple of Evra, also referred to as the Temple of Diana, is an ancient temple which makes a stunning impression in the historical center of the city of Evra. Now, if I'd been a little bit more on it, I would have made sure you already had the picture for this. So bear with as I find the picture. These Ugu Nunus, and photo credit today, courtesy of Wikipedia. These Ugu Nunus are being brought to life with wonderful photographs that have been carefully chosen by the T-Duck. Let me bring this one onto the screen now whilst we're talking about the Temple of Diana, and that is the Roman Temple of Evra, of course. I think that Douro wine has incapacitated some of my skills this morning. I've got a whole bottle, I've got a whole half bottle left as well. There it is in the distance. Now, seeing that for the first time, I would have said that is Rome, or that's Italy, or somewhere else, Greece, somewhere else in Europe, but not Portugal. Turns out it is. Isn't that fantastic? You can see that Roman erection here in Portugal. The temple is believed to have been constructed around the 1st century in honor of Augustus. Over the years, the temple has been repurposed and reconstructed several times. Now, if you had that at your disposal, what would you do with it? How would you repurpose that, I wonder? Bit drafty in the winter. It is now in the classification by UNESCO as the World Heritage Site, and no visit to Evra is complete without taking in this majestic remnant of ancient history. Beautifully put. Thank you very much there, T-Duck, for bringing our attention to the Temple of Diana, the ancient temple, aka the Roman Temple of Evra there. Very nice indeed. Yes, you can see such things in Portugal. And to think, many years ago, people would have thought, nah, Romans are gone now. Well, should we leave it? It's one of those buildings, isn't it? That's like, well, it's too big to knock down. I guess one of those pillars that look nice in the background. But no, it's lasted, hasn't it? It's lasted throughout the centuries there to be a fantastic Portuguese historical remnant there. Wonderful stuff. Dad jokes to come later on. And I realize now that I didn't share the dad jokes with you yesterday. So why don't we have a dad joke sandwich this morning? Let's make the show a dad joke sandwich and do the dad jokes that we should have done yesterday right now. So let me play the appropriate warning for such a thing. The dad joke warning coming up now, and I'll give you dad jokes at the beginning and at the end today. That's
Warning. Warning.
Oh, yes. Dad joke time. Yesterday's dad jokes then, if I may find those. Yes, of course, Tuesday, February the 7th, as it was. No, is it February the 7th today? So it's February the 6th yesterday. Okay, yes, I'm with you now. Okay, we're nearly there. Dad joke warning has been given. The dad jokes from yesterday left over for today. And of course, dad jokes are best served unexpectedly and cold and as leftovers. Always give 100% unless it's your blood. And laxatives give you a good run for your money. And if you're in it up to your ears, keep your mouth shut. I don't know if that's connected to the previously mentioned dad joke. Thank you very much. More of those to come later on in the show. And a visual dad joke. Okay, this one about margaritas. Thank you for sending this in. Might save that for Tony time. I've got the feeling that Tony, Antonio might like a cocktail from time to time. We'll find out what is his favorite, whether it's a margarita or not. We have a margarita-based visual joke for you now. Thank you, James, for this. I yet to explain it to me. Day 13 without margaritas. I lost hearing in my left eye. I've never been on a bender of that kind. Let's find out from our guests what their favorite cocktails or mocktails are a little bit later on. Pete's in as well. Pete, not happy about the wine last night. The Portugal Sun is in. Good morning, Portugal Sun. By Andy, of course, and Andy Klein too. Let's see how you're all doing. James is in, of course, with the Bon Dia Gumpus. And thank you for your visual dad joke this morning, James. Feliz dias a todos, como va from you. And thanks to Bob for that last one. Okay. Which last one was that? Was that a dad joke that was given to you by Bob? Excellent. All right, we'll come back and share that later on, as well as that Porto. It's brief but beautiful Porto sunset, courtesy of Darren J this morning. Bairandi is in. Bon dia, Kalu, Kale. What a fabulous day. Very nice. Singing to us from the Bairrada region. Andy Klein in. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your email, Andy. And so good to see you on this trip. Pete, bon dia. What a glorious morning it is. I hope it is lovely where you are too, James and T-Duck this morning. What about everybody else? And a Facebook user with a hi from Facebook there. Who are you, Facebook user? FU for short. Bon dia, alegria todos from the Portugal Sun. I'm all over the place again, like me this morning. Listed our house and sold a car. The things are happening. And Portugal Sun, who are you? I did ask yesterday. I know you're using a different, you're using your YouTube moniker there, aren't you? But forgive me, I've not been able to make the connection. If you guys are interested, there is a cheese trail around these parts and some good wines, not the appropriately described. Oh, come on, Pete, he's still not over it. Is that Lee? Is that Lee, the Facebook user? I'm not sure it is. And yes, looks like Roger Waters is the first guest. Not Roger Walters, but Roger Waters there is the guest for guessing this Gumper. Yes, and I need to read you the article about the world's oldest dog. I did promise that, didn't I? A moment or two ago. So yeah, Roger, it's not Roger Waters, but a good guess there. And you've got a photo of the temple as well. Good. Lee is here, but under his own name this morning. Good morning, people. And Catherine Whitby. It was repurposed as a slaughterhouse. What that Roman temple was? Okay, and thank you for that. A bit of tidbit of history. Tony, you're making me really hungry. Tony's having his breakfast behind the scenes there. All I've had this morning is a cup of tea. And I've been talking about cheese already this morning, and I haven't got access to any food for at least another well over an hour this morning. Yeesh. I'm gonna have to turn his camera off, I think. Needs to go to the bank today. God, living a dream. I've got my Kindle. Yes, talking of food, take food with you as well. Oh, there's a whole tranche of comments and mentions here on the screen. I'm leaving the pictures up way too long this morning, unless, of course, you're enjoying that picture of that handsome fella on the screen there. Looks and Frank looks like Roger Waters, one guess for the mono one, and Frank as well says, good guess. Very sweaty. Is that, I don't know, is that yourself? Is that one of the guest the Gumper pictures, I wonder? Sir Lion H joined us briefly last night for the wine tasting. Bon dia alegria to you, Sir Lion H. How you doing? And Darren, I have to mention his name, and here he is. I'm going to play that Porto sunset a bit later on. Tell us more about that, Darren. Why was there so much loud music? Was that somebody, some people just play their music willy-nilly out of their mobile phones. Was it somebody doing that? Or was there some kind of festa going on the bridge that night where you were there with that beautiful sunset in Porto? And it's Francis. The Portugal Sun is Francis. Of course it is. Now you tell me. Now I remember. Hola, bon dia, kids. Thank you, Francis, for being here. You working and lurking this morning. Hola, bon dia, kids, from a sunny Portimao from Victoria as well. And Darren read about the dog, which we're about to do now as well. Okay, that's James. He's trying to throw us off the scent with all his guesses. James in the mono picture then? No, it is not. But that would be quite a good tactic, wouldn't it? To make guesses, knowing that it's you all along, with a nice double bluff there. Okay, let's have a look at this oldest dog as we relaunched our Pooch and Pussy feature, which was quite popular. People sending in pictures of their pets. Please do that on 00351, the country code, of course, for Portugal. And then 913-590-303. Let's have a little read about the world's oldest dog, who is in fact Portuguese. Someone else enjoying the excellent quality of life here in Portugal. Before I read it, would you care to guess how old this dog is before I give the game away? He's got his certificate there. And I think if you look really closely, you can see on the certificate how old he is. But he's in pretty good shape for the age that he is. He's got his own little blanket there for the photo shoot. Oh, lovely little fella. Oh, some interesting advertising on to the right of the screen there as well. What's that about, I wonder? Okay, and as I scroll down, how old do you think he is? That old pooch there. John and Pam here twice, I think. Hola, bon dia. All you gumpers, still quite chilly this morning up in the north. John joining us at 9:30 this morning to tell us about how it's going. Newly here in Portugal, making a life here. I guessed Lee for the black and white and Frank. And so it's not the slug. I think a long time ago we had one of your photos, didn't you? For Guess the Gumper. That dog is 30 years old. About the time it will drink, it will take to drink that horrid wine. Peter, come on, just get it all out and let's move on. He's 210 years old in human years. Very good. I see what you did there, Antonio. This dog, yes, is 30 years old, and he is called Bobby. A 30-year-old Raffaello Alentejano. See, the quality of life in the Alentejano even reflects well in the canine kingdom. And he breaks the Guinness World Record for the oldest dog ever, a Portuguese dog who defied death after birth. Oh, isn't that interesting? How sometimes a difficult birth can lead to a long life, as would be the case here, it seems, has been crowned the oldest living dog in the world and the oldest dog ever by the Guinness World Records. Bobby is a purebred Raffaello de Alentejo, a breed with a life expectancy of 12 to 14 years. He's more than doubled that. Born on the 11th of May, 1992, at the age of 30 years and 268 days. Oh my goodness, what's in the pictures now? Those are toxin eliminating patches, I think. Is that a clove of garlic on someone's feet? I'm going to take that off just in case you are having your breakfast. According to the Guinness World Records, which used to be called the Guinness Book of Records, I guess because now we live in the internet age, it's not just a book anymore that you had to wait until Christmas for and be given one of those as a Christmas present. My parents used to buy me the Guinness Book of Records for Christmas. I don't know if I ever really looked at it or not. Maybe I did. We didn't have the internet then, did we? We didn't have much. We had black and white telly, possibly just moving into color, and the Guinness Book of Records to pass the time with. He made an impressive hardback, it has to be said. He has lived his entire life with the Costa family in the rural village of Conqueiros in Leiria. He's seen children grow up, that dog, and leave home. Bobby, who is said to be doing well for his age, has broken an almost century-old record. The previous oldest dog ever, that was Bluey from 1910 to 1939, was an Australian cattle dog. Bluey, of course, is the name of a children's cartoon about a family of dogs, which is really good fun. And maybe that's where the inspiration came from for the cartoon there. The Australian cattle dog who lived to be 29 years and 5 months old after a busy working life, by the sound of it. The official records prove Bobby's age. He was registered in 1992 with the Serviço Médico Veterinario do Municipio, come on, Cole, you can do this, de Leiria Veterinary Medical Service in the municipality of Leiria, who have confirmed Bobby's birth date. So that has been adjudicated or validated there. And quite a lot of detail. They've really made a really good long article out of this. Advertisements. Oh, I see. The journalist has written advertisements, I think, where the advertisements are supposed to go. The backstory for Bobby, but perhaps the most impressive aspect of this story is that Bobby has made history despite being practically condemned at birth, which sounds a bit serious. He was born as one of 4 male pups in an outbuilding. Oh, cue the music, where the Costa family stored wood. I was 8 years old, says Lionel Costa, now 38. And he told the Guinness World Records this: my father was a hunter and we always had many dogs. As they already owned several animals, Lionel's father decided that they couldn't keep the newborn puppies. This needs to be a movie. Disney, are you listening? Unfortunately, at the time, do Disney still make movies like this? I don't know. Like the Incredible Journey, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, at that time, it was considered normal by older people who could not have more animals at home to bury the animals in a hole so that they would not survive. Well, this fella did 30 years later. Oh, my goodness. The day after the puppies were born, Lionel's parents entered the room and quickly took them whilst their mother, Gira, was absent. One of the pups, however, was unwittingly left behind. We're loving this story. Lionel recalls that he and his brothers were very sad over the following days. Well done, kids, and had noticed that Gira continued to visit the outbuilding where her puppies were born. Oh, the mother of the dogs is called Gira, not the children. Lionel and his siblings found that the situation strange and decided to investigate, having found newborn Bobby disguised amongst all the wood. When I picked up Jimmy Choo, he was in a wood pile. Wanting to save Bobby, they decided to keep his existence a secret. We knew that when the dog opened its eyes, my parents would no longer bury it. Savage story. Lionel explained it was popular knowledge that this act could not or should not be done. Oh, I see. Once they've got their eyes open, my goodness. When Lionel's parents eventually discovered Bobby, it was too late. The young pup had already opened its eyes. Bobby was now a part of the family. And there should be a Portuguese saying, shouldn't there, about opening your eyes and being saved and living a long life thereafter. When they found out what we already knew, they screamed a lot and punished us, but it was worth it for a good reason. Longevity attributed to calm and peaceful environment, if not the dramatic start in his life. Lionel describes Bobby as very sociable as he grew up with many other animals, although he is said to be less adventurous now in his old age. Walking is difficult, Lionel explains, so he spends most of his time hanging out in the backyard with his 4 feline friends. His eyesight is worsened too. He notices him colliding with obstacles when he walks due to his age. Bobby rests more than he used to, and he likes to lie in bed after meals. Sounds like some of the Gumpers. On colder days, he prefers to relax by the fire. Definitely like the Gumpers. He's always eating human food. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? What we ate, they ate too. In those days, before dogs had their extremely expensive own types of food and never ate chocolate. Between a can of animal food or a piece of meat, Bobby doesn't hesitate and chooses our food. There you go. Lionel says he always soaks food in water before giving it to his pets so as to remove most of the seasonings. What an excellent, long story this is. It's perhaps this story itself should be considered for the Guinness World of Records. It's one of the longest ones we've ever read out, I think. And finally, then, I never thought of registering Bobby to break the record because fortunately our animals have always lasted for many years, he explained. He added that he never considered that Bobby might be the world's oldest dog until recently. In fact, when he sent in Bobby's application for the title of the oldest living dog, he didn't even realize that Bobby would also be the oldest dog, not just the oldest dog living, but the oldest dog ever too. Congratulations, Bobby! And the Costa family. And thank goodness that dogs aren't buried in that way anymore. My goodness. Okay, what do you think of that in the chat and the comments this morning? Smash that like button, says T-Duck. Where are Roy Castle and Norris McSquirter when you need them? Is there a GMP Guinness World Record we can break? I can suggest one. Yes, Pete, I thought we were heading there towards the end of your sentence. Mulher de Sete Seias. The 7 skirts, that is a Nazaré thing, is it not? You of that name, Mulher de Sete Seias. You're guessing Frank as well for the handsome young fella in the Guess the Gumper feature. Oh, yes, and before we conclude with Bobby there, so if you want to send your pictures of your pooch or your pussy, then please do that on 913-590-303. Now humming the theme tune to Littlest Hobo. Thanks, Carl. Maybe someday I'll settle down. Maybe tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Is that how it goes? I love that show. Absolutely love that show. And it's a bit like Black Beauty. Those theme tunes, I'm making myself tear up now just singing and thinking about them. Oh, my goodness. So it is a Nazaré thing. And we saw the ladies with the 7 skirts on. And Mrs. M, did I really just say that? What? I'm always a bit worried when I hear or see that in the comments. Did I really just say that? Probably, yes. What have I done? And I think you're giving us a yup for the 7 skirt thing. And Mrs. M, as we were driving through, seeing the ladies of Nazaré, and they very proudly wear the multi-leveled garments. I was going to say downstairs. You know, of course you wear a skirt downstairs. But they're several layers. And Mrs. M was thinking, well, why several layers? And I'm thinking, well, that is for adjusting yourself throughout the day, right? When it gets really hot by about 2 o'clock at the moment, you're down to your last 1 or 2 skirts, having started the morning or the day off with a full 7 on, which I'm thinking of doing myself. I've got my thermals on today, I can tell you. And not 7 layers, but just 1 layer of excellent, I don't know, probably NASA-inspired technology over my legs. But yeah, I think there is that is mainly a practicality, isn't it? And also, if you get covered in fish juice, you can take layers off to relieve yourself of that situation. And Of course, I think there's probably a dance related to the removing of the 7 skirts in the way of the 7 veils, probably as well. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to go return to our. No, I'm not going to return to our homepage because having read one of the longest stories we've ever read out, celebrating the long life of Bobby the dog, who's not only the longest living dog, but the longest living dog ever, and he's still alive and well in the Alan Tay Show. It's 9 o'clock, folks. So it's time for a big round of applause. And it's time for a bit of Tony time. What's good about your morning? It just got better because Tony's here. How you doing, Tony?
Hello.
Hello,
Bom
dear.
dia, alegria. How are you, Carlito?
I am heartwarmed
I'm
by
good.
reading the story of a 30-year-old dog, and I'm glad to see you as well this morning for a bit of Tony time. How is it in the north? Is it chilly up there? Have you got 7 skirts on, Antonio?
7 skirts of flannel pajamas and but that's the thing up here. It's chilly in the morning, so bring if you don't have just grab onto something warm. That's what I always say, or even a cup of coffee. If you can't find a warm body, get a cup of coffee, something warm in your hand, right? And to get you by the winter because
Ooh, you're so
November
north.
through November through the end of February, Carlito here is a little bit, but that's why everything's so green. It does rain a little more, but we had the rain in the few couple of the months of November, December, etc. So January, February are typically a little colder, and but small little frost. But yeah, great. And great story about that dog. It goes to show that even Portugal. It's not only for expats, it's also for animals. And Portugal is very friendly to animals, and dogs and cats can enjoy the quality of life. You imagine
Yes.
210 years in human years, so 30 years old for a dog. That is really incredible,
It
and
is
it's
incredible, isn't it? I mean, that breed is only supposed to last 12 to 14 years, and he's doubled that and added a couple more on top from that very scary beginning as well. From an age where dogs were born, probably an abundance of creatures, of kittens and puppies around the place, and that rather savage way of dispatching them. He survived that process to live to that ripe old age. So good old Bobby, fantastic. So a little bit chilly then, but still lots to talk about and celebrate in the north of Portugal. And I think we can take some credit, can't we, for bringing it? You certainly can, for bringing some notoriety and awareness of the north of Portugal. I see articles now that do say, it's Portugal is not just the Algarve, Porto, and Lisbon, and of course it's central and it's the north. Are you noticing a trend here, a change? Is it continuing to come to the attention of more and more people?
Well, Carlito, people don't know what they don't know. They think they know. They get on a
They
computer.
think they know,
They
yes.
know how to move Portugal. They know the D7 visa process. They know everything. They don't need us. They don't need professionals. I always say that if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait till you hire an amateur. And that's, because o barato and people, o barato sai caro. That means that the cheap stuff is always going to cost you more, right? O barato sai caro.
Yes.
And I'll repeat it.
Yes.
If you think if it's expensive to hire a professional, wait till you hire to get the job done. Wait till you get or hire a amateur. And the truth is that people don't know what they don't know, and they don't know. They don't know Portugal. Portugal's been here for centuries. I've been keep saying more than 20 years. I think this will be the new. Anybody in the U.S. that's listening. Typically Florida, for example, people, even Canadians, etc. Northeast snow, they move to Florida. Okay. And I've been saying for more than 20 years that Portugal would be the 51st state, the new Florida, call it, because of the retirees, because of the sun, because of the quality of life, cost of living, everything. And that's why primarily the retirees moved to Florida. It's a more liberal country, a more liberal state, even with DeSantis there and Republican. But it's more, even when they did with the COVID, like not masks and stuff, like really a little more. And it's in Portugal is like that. People will be moving here. And I'll say this again. I've more than 20 years of saying it. It's one of Portugal's best kept secrets. Okay,
Oh yeah.
one of because people don't know once they discover, and it's primarily attractive for who, Carl? It is for the northeast, Northern California. When you talk about Oregon, Seattle, that whole area there, or the northeast as well, or the northeast, northwest, and northeast. When you're talking about it, because why? The weather is very similar. It's even better. There's no snow. It's not as cold. And the what do you say? Not the location. Like if you look at California, it's very similar to the weather of Portugal. You look at the Northeast, it's the same, and it's very green. That's what people do. The people love. Hey, I'm tired of the tourists. It's okay to have a holiday home and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Or living in the city. Most people want to live in the city. There's the lifestyle. But once people discover that, hey, I can get more bang for my buck, or my sterling, where I can buy a 3-bedroom house, 3-bath, etc., swimming pool, maybe an acre of land for around 300,000 euros. It's a bargain when you compare it to the rest of Portugal, really, and because the south is great, but the weather. But you know what? You can always buy a property here, and with the money you save, buy a property down in the Algarve, so you become a rain bird, not a snowbird, a rain bird. So that gives you two properties here, where you can have. And believe me, Carlo, when from March to the end of October, okay, there's no other place you want to live in Portugal, and that I can guarantee you. We have the cooler summers, the festivities going on, the weather. Like today, it's a beautiful sunny day. What is it now here? It's around 7 degrees here, right? It's going to get up to around 14 or so. Okay, I'll tell you right now, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and it's going to be as sunny as the weather all over Portugal. It's going to be up to 41 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. So well, that's 41 degrees now here. Maximum 58, almost 60 degrees. Okay, so Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I must have it in Fahrenheit. And so the difference isn't that big from the rest of Portugal. Okay, in terms of weather, what happens is, of course, but hey, just find a warm body to hug be close to overnight or in the morning. So just kick her out in the afternoon and then just bring her back.
Good advice. Good advice there. You're available as well, we noticed, scouring the internet.
500 for 500 euros.
Yes.
500 euros per hour. The cute backstory of how we met. I call your dad Pops. I'll kiss your mom on the cheek. And a bonus of 500 euros. I'll tell you, I love you in front of your family. Now, isn't that a great deal, Carl?
Well, they say money. Yeah, well, it is a great deal. They say money can't buy you love, but actually on this occasion, and as we head towards Valentine's Day, it seems like it can. And that answers one of the questions that we have in the chat, which is, what are you selling, Antonio? Himself this morning. Where is that lovely vista there? Which part of Portugal are you selling yourself?
That's the Moledo Beach, which is here. I'll paint you a picture.
Yeah.
This is where the beautiful Minho River, as it embraces and hugs the Atlantic, it gives it a nice kiss on the cheek too. Nice. Here in Portugal, and there's a beautiful. That's where Galicia in Spain, where you have the mountain of Santa Tegra. It's a beautiful viewing point. It separates the Minho River in Portugal. It's right at the tip of Portugal. Okay, the most furthernmost point, and that's Caminha, the region. And there's a beautiful beach. Moledo is like an aristocratic beach. That's where all the socialites and so you see all the people from a lot of the higher society, where everybody's higher society, but there's just a little more expensive, higher end value of properties, and it's the beach of Moledo. It started out as a small little fishing village. There's actually a beautiful, if you go back, there's a book about postcards about it, and there's this beautiful. There you go, 500 bucks an hour. It's a bargain, I think, to have me and as your Valentine Day. Yeah,
but that's the beach. I love it. I love it.
Beautiful beach. Beautiful beach.
Okay, we've got an offer already.
My first home was there. My first home when I moved to Portugal. My first home was there. Yeah.
Okay, and the name of the place again? Sorry, one more time.
Moledo. Moledo. Okay, and it's in between Viana do Castelo and Vila Nova de Cerveira, which is the county of Caminha.
Okay, very good.
Very popular hotspot. Great in the summertime. I remember, about 40 years ago when my parents, when I was forced to come to Portugal on a holiday, more than 40 years ago, almost 50 now. Beautiful. Yeah, I hated it. I really did. Now I'm so grateful that they did. But I hated it that I really did a number on the beach, which took away a lot of the sand. They reposed some of it and they fixed it, but it used to be a long stretch of beach. I mean, you used to walk like for about, I don't know, 300 meters out into the Atlantic. There's actually an event here. Every 40 years or so, there's an event that there's a small little fortress city there, or fortress, not a city, it's a castle they used to be for to protect against the invaders. There's a small chapel. It's actually going to be converted into a tourism hotel and stuff. And you can walk from Little Beach to this castle there in the middle of the Atlantic because the tides are so low. And that's what used to happen years ago. It used to be a long stretch of beach. I lost so many sunglasses. Sometimes I'd walk, because it's so shallow, right? But then, hey, I want to go further out. I want to go further out until you're out like 300 meters away. Comes a wave, and you know what? You forget about your glasses. So somewhere along the Atlantic, there's a fish swimming with some Ray-Bans on it, I'm sure.
I bet, yeah. I can see that. That's another great Disney character that we've launched this morning. A fish wearing Ray-Ban glasses at Maledo Beach. We've had our first offer for you, and that will be the lady of the 7 skirts does want to, I think, take you up on that offer this morning. I'm purchasing Antonio. You say Mulher de Sete Seias there. And a question in from Sarah as well. Sarah, thank you for your lovely review of Les. We've got the Caldash crooner who sings a song every week for us. And your lovely feedback was a true singer with a pure and gentle voice is rare these days, or rare to hear these days. You're an absolute joy. Thank you so much for the song of the week. And you have a question for Tony this morning, which is, where is Antonio? And so we know you as the man in the Minho, of course, and you've talked to us about Maledo Beach, but where do you choose to have your home for Sarah's benefit?
Vila Nova de Cerveira,
Okay.
and that's it's a small little village that's right on the banks of the Minho River, and it's not too far, literally 10 minutes away from Caminha. That's where I have my roots. My mom was from here. My grandparents were from Vila Nova de Cerveira, small little village called Sapardos. Okay, so it's just right close to the center of town. And my father, roots are from Paredes, Dakota, which is also a nice little beautiful that's where they do the Vodafone, the festival, the music festival every year in August. Yeah, the area that's another one in Vilar de Mouros. It's not too far from there. That's actually the oldest music festival in Portugal. John Lennon played at the first one there. And so I'm in that region here and real close. You know what's beautiful about this region? Like this weekend, I spent a lovely weekend in Bayona and Vigo. Beautiful seafood dishes and stuff. So and it's from the Ria, the river. It's because it's not a river in Vigo. It's where the Atlantic comes in, and then it's kind of like a lake, but it's not a river. It's a Ria. That's like a small little lake. They have a lot of great seafood and fish. And so being close to the Spanish border here, just the same way as in the Algarve is close to Ayamonte and, the Tavira, Villarreal, we have that same mix here. So we get a lot of Spanish influence all the way up to Porto and Braga here in the north. And I think even you'll have John here later. He's in Ponta de Lima. He's a hop, skip, and a jump. He's a hop, skip, and a jump for me, right? He's in Ponta de Lima, right, Carl?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and part of a phenomenon of people moving to Ponta Lima as well. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason for Ponta de Lima. Ponta de Lima is considered one of the oldest villages in Portugal. They never lost the status, they never lost that status. They never wanted city or anything. So it's called a villa. It's still a Vila de Ponta de Lima. Okay. Where most it's the oldest and beautiful. Not only the wine culture there, vinho, and that whole Lima River. Now it's the lamprey season, right? In January, February, it's great lamprey. But you got to have the rose lampreia or even
I've never tried that, but that's a good tip.
Delicious. It's delicious, okay. Carl. So we have it from the Minho. There's everywhere. There's the Minho. There's in Lima. It's the river, right? Because they spend whole life and then they go out to the Atlantic. They latch on to sharks and bigger fish, and then they come to spawn back into the rivers, right? And lamprey is a delicious delicacy in the from January, February in these winter months. And it can be, depending on if there's a lot of it, but even if you go down to Coimbra, the Mondego, Rio Mondego, in that central part, it comes into the river. So, and here we have the Minho, we have the Lima, and a few others. And believe me, the farther up more it goes, the more expensive and the best they say, because that's but Caminha, definitely, Vila Nova de Cerveira. all these regions here. Ponta de Lima too, the Papar Sarrabulho to have. I'm sure me and John will probably get there to have a nice Papar Sarrabulho for sure.
Sounds amazing. Look, I'm looking at lamprey. When you say they latch on to sharks, they literally do, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Sharks, bigger. They feed off the bigger fish. When I say sharks or big fish, they latch on. There's so many places that prepare it well. You can have it with the rice, with the blood and everything. You can have it bordaleza style. That's with some little crackers. There's different ways to prepare. One of my favorite ways to prepare lamprey is actually in the oven. Okay, and it's baked like if you do it in a wood stove oven, you slow bake it for like 3 hours or so. And with the baked potatoes, and then you have the rice separately. I love the baked arroz de lampreia no forno, delicious. And top it off with a nice alvarinho here from the north, an alvarinho wine or vinho verde. Wow, delicious.
I've never seen. I've heard of lamprey, but I didn't realize this was their habit. I mean, that's quite disturbing seeing that. It's like a leech, really, isn't it? It latches on, and then it's feeding off the bigger fish, and it's filling itself with nutrition from its host.
Did you know that lamprey, their eggs, okay, when they're spawning in their eggs, it's like the caviar, right? You have the beluga, you have the caviar. Here it's michelin, okay, michelin. And it's one of the most expensive dishes to get. It probably can get it to €1,000 a kilo. Okay, I'm serious. €1,000 a kilo, and it's delicious. It's like you have caviar basically before they grow up into the big fish that they are. And definitely, and it's actually a lot of people do that fishing illegally because it is very profitable, right? But it is just a small fact. Yeah, it's one of the most expensive caviars in the world and comes into the rivers, the lamprey. It's a delicious dish to be enjoyed and savored during the months, but you can only have it like once or twice a year. It's during this time. It's a real deep dish, very heavy. So definitely.
I had no idea we'd be talking about, as Mulher de Sete Seixas is putting it, roasted leeches. It doesn't sound so appetizing when you put it like that. Sarah says, we are in Vienna, lamprey season, can't do it yet. Are you put off the idea, Sarah, from the pictures I've shown? John's got something to tell us, I think, about lamprey as well when he arrives. Hey, Daddy, we're watching you.
Sarah's in Vienna. I used to live, once upon a time, we do fall in love, Carlito. We do. So I met this beautiful woman, and she wasn't living here. This is when I was living here for a few years now, and she was from Paris. She grew up there. And believe it or not, she didn't want to live in my house in Mulher, and it's beautiful. We're on the beach, everything, etc. No, she hated it. She really didn't like it. So that's fine. So we lived in outside of Vienna in a beautiful little village as well, Portela Suzá. My office was in Viana do Castelo. My very first office, when I got into real estate, was in Viana do Castelo. I know that market and the area. I mean, all of the area, but Viana do Castelo is a beautiful the most northern city. Anybody that doesn't have visited Viana, she's in a beautiful part of the world as well. You have that amazing Sacre Coeur. It's a replica. It's a Baroque church that replicates the Sacre Coeur in Paris. There in Monte Santa Luzia, that whole area is very. Very nice. I love it. That whole, and again, Minho Village, right? One of Portugal's best kept secrets. Sarah could verify it.
I think so. But yes, put off the lamprey when she saw them at the market. Maison, a kind of eel, very expensive. There's illegal trafficking of that stuff as well. Thank you, Antonio. Some great info coming in. And lampreys have caught everyone's imagination this morning, Antonio. Lampreys were introduced to the Great Lakes in the 1920s in the ballast water from ships. Isn't it amazing what happens? And totally devastated the thriving fishery industry by killing off all the large fish. My goodness. Sounds great, says Randy. Not put off like Sarah's. I'd tuck into a plate of that. No worries. says Randy.
We can have it for Valentine's. I mean, I don't know who made that offer for me. If you have an offer for me, I'm open to, right now it's still early and I could still I'm getting a few offers. I actually had someone from the Philippines says, all I want is flowers. You don't even have to tell me I love you. Okay, that's fine. That's two.
That's good. You know what I mean? So sounds all right,
she doesn't want to spend that extra €500. I get that.
Not that's a big commitment then. Okay, fair enough. It sounds like the Milky Bars are on Tony this Valentine's Day. Yes, a week away from Valentine's Day, and when Katia Lima joins us on Thursday, she'll be talking about celebrating Valentine's Day here in Portugal. We did have that question actually from the lady who might hire you. You'll have to do it in shifts, won't you? You'll have to see the Filipino lady one part of the day, and then maybe the lady of the seven skirts another. It's turning into a busy day. Oh, Pete's having a busy day as well. Off to the doctors this morning. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Good luck there, Pete, and have a good day yourself there. And yeah, the lady of the seven skirts was asking, what are you selling? Apart from yourself, I think is the question.
Portugal.
And this, yes, Portugal. That's the thing, isn't it? Oh, and apparently that story was so long. The oldest living dog may have passed away whilst I was reading it. Yes, very funny. I hope he's alive and well still in the Alan Sergio, young Bobby. So yes, selling Portugal. I have another screen to share with you, Tony. These articles continue to come as interest in Portugal continues to rise around the world. There's a new one in the Portugal news. What is the cheapest? Well, where is it cheapest? And where is it most expensive, of course, the world to buy a house in Portugal? Any trends from you? You are in the real estate business, as you mentioned there. You go about it in a unique and very special way, it has to be said. What trends are you noticing right now?
Well, there's a trend from going on for years, and that's just lack of housing, lack of inventory.
Yep.
So that's why prices are what they are. It's not because of people. Real estate is all about supply and demand. It's what it is. Portugal's been on the map. It's been here for centuries. People are now discovering it. People want to move here. It was cheap, maybe cheaper, not cheap, because where is cheap in the world, Carl? Where is cheap? Where do you go that you can have one of the best? Somebody said, oh, it's expensive to hire a car here. You know what? When I go to anywhere in the world and I travel, I rent a car. It costs the hell bloody. If I go to the US, every time I get the bill, I'm screaming in agony. You know what I mean? Because when it comes, because I can't get a bottle of wine or a dinner or anything for you can go here for 30 euros or a nice bottle of wine, dinner for 35, 40 euros that you pay. I rent a car, etc. Anywhere in the world, and even real estate. Where is it cheap? Cheap? Tell me. Maybe in Serbia, Montenegro, but you have to deal with the growing pains of there that we've done. So Portugal has grown into a country where you have it's a stable democracy. You have the truth is that it's one of the safest countries in the world. What, you put a price on that? No, it's the affordable cost of. So people are moving here, and the lack of homes, even renting. Lisbon is expensive. I would admit that probably it's cheaper going to Madrid and buying a property there, but then you have to worry about the cost of living there. But it is, so Lisbon is very expensive. Porto's probably, it's trending now cheaper, and people are discovering it. Why? Porto was just last year was awarded from the World Travel Awards as the best city in the world. Okay, and it beat out even Lisbon, it beat out Dubai, Miami, all major cities, right? Bogota, even Bogota was on the list as one of the contenders for best city in the world. So Porto, and people are like that. They don't know what they don't know. Soon enough they'll be in Viana do Castelo. So be careful, Sarah. You're gonna have so many people moving there. Like they don't know what they don't know, and they're looking at, hey, they read a good article, etc. A good friend, Laura Lynn, with Mitch Leon, they did she's also a renowned journalist, and she lives in Switzerland. She did an article about Portugal as well, and did very, very precise and a lot of information. Part of it, that she did the research, and there's reasons for that. And there's so many publications. Portugal just awarded as the best retirement country on the planet. Okay, for 2023, International Living Magazine. It's not an opinion; it's a fact. And so when you put all this together, where are you going to go? The places that are trending, Carl, really are where people want to afford, and maybe they're looking at other areas instead of. You're going to have the wealthy, high net worth individual that's going to continue to buy in the center of Lisbon, Cascais. You're going to have it, and in other parts, areas like Comporta, which is right between the area of Troia on the other side of Lisbon. And so people, that's with the beautiful resorts that they're building there for golf and everything. You don't have to go down to Quinta do Lago Valdo. Portugal, for me, you got to have, like in many countries, and this people they tell, it can't be, everything cannot be accessible to everybody. You got to have where you're going to have areas that direct access or private access to your own beaches. There's a price and a premium you pay for that. If you go to Quinta do Lago Valdo, it's one of the most beautiful places, and there's a reason for that. They want to keep it that way. It's manicured lawns, closed-in condominiums, right? The gated communities and everything. And Comporta will be that in the future, because you don't have to go to the Algarve. That's where you have a big stretch of beach going down to the Vicentine coast in the southwest Alentejo. So that's where Madonna used to take her horses and out for a ride. It's some beautiful places there. Melides, you have Christian Louboutin, you know, the red shoe guy. He has a house there, and a lot of other celebrities. And he's built the Red Hotel, okay, 6-star, 5-star, or 5-6-star hotel, boutique hotel there in Melides as well. Okay, beautiful
Where is
area
that?
of the
Okay.
Alentejo. So,
Yeah.
and those are probably the areas. Of course, the Silver Coast will be affordable because it's in between. Imagine the Algarve 30 or 40 years ago. That's the Silver Coast. So there's still lots of room there to grow, the Minho. But Lisbon, Cascais, Porto, and Porto will be trending as one of the, because people renting here, you can get for half the price a 2-bedroom apartment. We just did, I don't know, we did about 5-6 rentals for D7 visa just this past month alone. Okay, for throughout Portugal, and the majority were in Porto. Okay, and you know, there's a difference. Like you pay for a 2-bedroom rental place, okay, no unfurnished in Lisbon, in Parque das Nações, for example. Okay, that's where the Gar de Oriente is, the Garage Gar do Oriente, where it connects all the major trains. We rented one there for 2,100 euros, a beautiful 2-bedroom place overlooking, you know, all the emblematic sites and
Amazing
stuff.
place. Yeah.
And here, a 2-bedroom apartment in Porto, we were able to rent it for 1,500 euros and 1,100, 1,200. A small little 2-bedroom house, about 100 meters from the metro of the Porto Stadium, okay, which is that area there of the Antas, close by. 2-bedroom house, 1,000 euros, Carlo. I mean, it's unbelievable. So the prices, and it's a beautiful little house, 2-bedroom, double. Near the Praça Velasquez, 1,000 euros. These are the diamonds or the needles and haystacks. They do come around, and when you do
That's
come,
not so bad, is it? Amazing.
that's great for Porto. Living in the center of Porto,
Incredible. Yeah.
it's incredible. So we were
Good to
helping
hear.
last month. We did over, it was 6 D7 visa processes for clients moving here. We already know how many houses we're going to be selling next year because those people they rent when they rent for a year. I always recommend people rent a house for a year, unless you've been here a dozen of times, you know the area where you want to live, rent, and then that way you could figure out where you want to call home. You know, instead of buying out a property, you could buy it. Then that's what we're here for, to sell it. But why go through all those notions if you could just settle down first, get your address
Base camp.
here,
Yep.
and then you discovered. So those areas there, I have 3 main areas: is Comporta. The Silver Coast, of course, has always been there, but it's not really a trend. But it's what people knew about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. People are over now. Now the trending, Porto and the Minho, the northern area, and even the interior parts of Portugal. Okay, because you have somebody, you can't afford to buy a 300,000 euro home, 3-bedroom, 3-bath in the area close to the coastline near me. But you know what? You can go further interior and you could buy it for under 200,000 euros. Granted, you're going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours from an airport. But again, villages, villas or cities that have hospitals, schools, everything. I'm talking about like Abrantes. I'm talking about Bragança. I'm talking about Viseu, Guarda. That area of Portugal is still affordable. Remember, Portugal is big. People want to go to where all the hotspots are. They don't want to pay for it. Guess what? You're going to have to pay for it. And that's what, there's something else that's trending, Carl. If you thought it was expensive, if you think it's expensive today to buy a home in 2023 in February, wait till March or April or May during this year, throughout this year. Lack of inventory is only going to dictate the demand is there, continue to be. It's only the dictate. You're competing. Here's the thing. We competed. We won out a lot of offers, multiple offers scenarios, because here in Portugal, you don't even know what that is. But in the US, anybody there knows, there's 10 people that want to buy the house or rent the house. So we have to beat out multiple offers. You have to get that winning offer. And we did, and we got it all the time. I don't like to lose. So, it's talking to the client. Hey, this is what you got to do to get this. You want this house, you want this rental apartment or a rental house that you have 10 or 20 other people that want to pay or willing to pay 1,000 euros for it in the Porto, etc. How are you going to win that offer? That's where
Tony does that for you. He's our man in the Minho. And of course, Malia de Setsej, he's a wealth of information. That's why we have him here. And he's definitely not lacking in subject matter. John will be joining us soon. Maybe a good moment to talk about this new rumor, I think, when it comes to inventory. You were saying that's the big problem, of course, with the Portuguese housing market, is there does seem to be a lot of empty property, but they're not necessarily all for sale. What do you have you heard about this new proposed law to shift those properties that have the proverbial relative living in the outback of Brazil who doesn't want to sell it, and the government want to step in and ease that kind of, facilitate that kind of blockage. Do you think that's ever going to happen, Tony?
Carlo, we have some good
What?
things in Portugal. Yeah, I'm going to keep it as simple as
Keep it
politically
real
correct.
here.
But you know what? I'm not politically correct. I don't care. You like me, don't like me. You know what? I sleep good at night, and that's what counts because I'm happy. And this is the truth, okay? And there's nothing, you have politicians that we're going to go back into before 1975. Do you remember those areas? I don't. I wasn't around. My parents do. My grandparents do. I heard the stories. You could read about it. The Estado Novo. And people, the government was in control. They tell you who you rent it to, who you sell it to. You couldn't do anything. One of the things that as a realtor, we defend property rights. Okay, that's what we do. As anyone that wants to invest in this country, or how can you tell them, hey, your house is empty? You know what? I could keep it empty as long as I pay my taxes. It's mine.
Yeah, I
Anybody that
agree.
any government, and that's just, hey, you know what? They don't have anything better to say. And her name is Marina Mortagua, okay? The Lei Mortagua, the Bloc Esquerdo. They are fanatics, okay? They really are. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, like, and anybody here, I don't care. You know what? You're going into the communism extreme where it's not, there's no sense. How can you make anybody?
I agree with you. On the one hand,
It'll never happen, but
it
it's
doesn't.
just, she has nothing better to say. And she's
Okay,
got
all
to,
right. So it belongs in that. It belongs in that
we have
bucket.
in the U.S. It's like or anywhere else. You got to pass the buck. You got to be there. So you got to show her 5 minutes of TV time and say outrageous things, and maybe people will come out of it. There's also on the other side of the spectrum, which is the right party, the Shiga. That's like wow, that's the other extreme. You know what I mean? Like where
Yes.
you got to be, liberal. I'm a liberal person. You got to be, but at the same time, conservative, central. You got to think, and you have to think of where Portugal, where we were more than 20 years ago. I remember I used to come here. I was the first to tell you that I would never live here 30 years ago because it was a little bit, wasn't around, but it's come such a long way. The stability of everything around. And I think what's important is that we maintain that stability because that's what.
Well said. Well said. Okay, I just wanted to ask you about that. As somebody who might know, just a bit of political saber rattling. Let's bring another gentleman from the north onto the screen now. When we've spoken with John just recently, he's been in Colorado. Now he is in the north of Portugal. And here he is. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning.
How are you guys? Oh, we're so good. That could be a Colorado bright sky behind you, but it is in fact Ponte Lima. Am I right?
It is. It's my backyard. Well, of the rental.
Okay,
where we're holed up for the month until everything's ready at our house.
Oh, how good is that? So when you say everything is ready for our house, and by the way, yes, Tony and John, you've met each other, I think, on a previous call, but good to see you both on the screen again. Our house, you were quite unusual in coming to Portugal when you were scouting and thinking we might move to Portugal, and you went back with a sale agreement in your hand, right? Not doing what Antonio recommended.
We did. Yeah, everyone, I would say, probably for 99% of folk, you probably should rent something first until you decide what you would like and know what you want. But Pam and I both did know what we wanted, and it kind of fell in our laps. So might as well take advantage of it. I had my tick list of must-haves and wanted to be walking distance to town. Wanted to be walking distance to the Ecovia on the river, wanted to be on the edge of farmland, but still close enough to walk to the local grocery store and the butcher and the coffee shop. And it's like, wow, that's not going to happen. It's like, everything was right there. So yeah, so might as well. It's like, this is the right price, 300,000, top-notch quality build. It wasn't just, like, okay, it's all conceptual and here's the floor plan. It was pretty much already half built. So I knew the builder through recommendations from local friends that I trusted. And so all of the, that's another thing. You need to be able to trust who you're working with. And so all of those things were addressed. All my concerns were addressed. The pricing was right. The location was right. And the friends that I trusted, they all were saying the same thing. So we went ahead and signed a purchase agreement, and it's going to be, we actually can move furniture and appliances and things like that now. We just don't have the deed, the actual signing with the local municipality yet. So, but until then, we can still get the house set up. But
Fantastic.
we should be actually able to start living in it this month. So our local rental with also another friend, Fernando. We have a rental here for just till the end of the month, or till March 2nd, actually. We've had many friends, many other Gumpers who actually have stayed with Fernando. So Leif and Susan, and there's also Lucia and Scott and several others. So
it's like a new Silk Road, isn't it? There is a pattern forming here of new arrivals and people scouting the place, and I think falling in love as well with Ponte Lima. And why not? And that is such a lovely adventure to be able to share with us, John. I'm so pleased for you, and you'll be taking possession within the next month or so, you say. And you mentioned the grocery store. You had your tick list. And this is your grocery store, right?
That's the grocery store. So that's Maria and her son Rodrigo, and her husband Joao, and her daughter is actually is the new owner. I actually forget her name, but the daughter's brother, her son, Maria's son, he's my neighbor, and his wife. I've met his wife Christina.
Yeah,
and that grocery store, it's been operated by Maria now for 48 years.
Wow.
In that local neighborhood. So yeah, we just stopped by, just wanting to check it out. We walked up to the door, and it happened to be closed at that point, but there were these people right there, and it's like, oh, are you John and Pam? And it's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, we'll let you in. And it's like, yeah, we got some mail for you, and So it's like, this is brilliant. So
that's incredible. Yeah. What I love. Well, isn't this fantastic to hear, Antonio? This story of coming to Portugal, being welcomed in this way. You're hearing more and more of this, I'm guessing.
Yeah, love at first sight. That's what John. That's what I heard from him. He fell in love with it, and that's okay. Where you don't have to rent. This is, you know what you're looking for. That's one thing, and you have it ticks all your boxes. And Portugal is about the weather, and that's why John chose it here. He wanted that kind of weather. We're in Colorado, right? So it's very similar, probably even better in terms of not as cold and no snow or anything. But it's love at first sight, and that's what happens. Is I always say to people, Portugal. Don't come if you don't want to fall in love. Okay. And there's right, because it's there's actually a slogan for Viana do Castelo, Ponte de Lima, Viana do Castelo, where it says, those who come stay, those who stay fall in love. And Amar Viana, love Viana. That's a slogan. It really is. I mean, it's once you see it, and this is what it is, and that's what John. They fell in love. It ticked all their boxes. That's the way to go. Otherwise, rent because Portugal is very there's actually a nice golf course there. You don't even have to play golf, but go to the clubhouse and stuff. Really nice. If you're a horse riding, okay, it's a capital. Santarém is primarily in Portugal for horse riding, but if you go to Ponte de Lima, there's a couple of equestrian places and stuff. So there's a lot to do. Fernando
Good golf course here in Ponte Lima too.
We've got your video, John, haven't we? John made a video of the golf course at Ponte Lima as well. Tell us more about the town then, John, and what it is that you fell in love with there. Quite right, Tony. Like, come and you'll stay and you'll fall in love. It's exactly what John and Pam have done. What else is so I mean, maybe you don't want to keep talking about how fabulous Ponte Lima is because you've got it now. Yeah. You can just pull up the drawbridge. And yes. What is it you love about the place?
Oh, it's just everything. I mean, you have the old history. You have the old Roman bridge that dates back to Roman times, and it's like the oldest incorporated village in all of Portugal since 1146, I think, with chartered by Teresa. And you have the really great downtown cobblestone streets and the old buildings and things. Yet you still have, you have 5 of the major grocery stores, all easy access. You're only 20 minutes to Vienna. You're only a half hour to Braga. You're only 50 minutes to Porto. You're only 20 minutes to Spain, to Galicia. You have major airport in Porto that's been ranked one of the best airports in Europe. You have Vigo, which is even closer, which is another international airport where you can. So it's what's not to like. It's super convenient. One of the fallacies that I quickly learned when we first visited, because we did want to check out the Algarve, we checked out the central area and the coast and the Silver Coast, and then we saved the north for last because that's where I suspected we would like, because of the it's cooler, it's more green, it's more mountainous, just in terms of my Colorado background. But one of the fallacies was, the north is such the hinterlands. It's so far away from everything. I want to be close to the hustle bustle. And it's like, well, that's you have, if you want to go to a concert or some big football game or something, it's all close. It's not far away. So you have all of the amenities of the big city, yet you still have the meaningfulness of more village life and farming. And we just went for a little drive down to the river the other day, and we were on our way back, and there's this little grandma driving her tractor, chatting, and so it's so nice. Great fishing spot. Showed I enjoy fishing, and turns out Owen does too. So we have our fishing spots, and we have salmon in the river. It's super clear, trout and salmon. We have otters. So Owen knows the secrets.
Okay, all right, fine.
Okay, good enough.
Carlo, you have posted up about the Porto airport, and then after I'm going to do my shameless plug, because maybe people want to come visit Porto and the new region with me, and then you could put up the link. If you could put up the link, that'll be great. But go ahead, it's about Porto. You posted that up.
Yeah, I mean, this is John's talking about what a great airport it is. It's a really nice airport to use, and they've just announced a 25 million airport expansion as well. So there's something going on, isn't there, to support. Whilst they're arguing in the south about where the new airport should be, it sounds like in the north they're just quietly getting on with things, and they've put some money aside, and they're smartening up the airport and making it even better up there. Didn't know about Vigo. That's good to know as well. That Vigo, you can fly. It's an international airport. You can fly all over the world from there as well.
Well, at least all over Europe.
Yeah, perfect. And then your hubs to elsewhere. That's amazing. What is your shameless plug, Tony Time? Which of your addresses should we use so that people can get in touch with you? Because look, we have sold all of Ponta de Lima to the lady of the 7 skirts this morning, I think. Do we know any good realtors? I think she's kidding. We do absolutely know a good realtor. He's on the screen, and yeah, of course. So what's the best way for people to get in touch, Antonio?
Well, you can come knock on my door on Villanova Cerveira, and I'll invite you to coffee. Just in Villanova. The best way is really through my digital business card. It's real simple. Antonio10k.com. You have all my information, social media, websites, everything that you want to about me and what I do and who I am. And the Antonio10k.com. But if you want to pin up the or you could see it, it's on our the trade mission. If you go on my blog, okay. And it is from May 26th through June 2nd. We host various events throughout the year for people, not only realtors or anyone that's thinking of moving here, investing here. And we do it in different parts of Portugal. So we have one already in March that sold out. And it's for a group of investors that's going to be coming out here to look at this region here as well, and a little bit of Porto and the central part. We're doing from May 26th to June 2nd. That's still open. There's an early bird reservation. If you want to reserve by this Friday, the 10th, it's still possible to do. I'm not sure if you have the link, but otherwise, yeah, that's there. But exactly, Antonio. But the trade mission. So from May 26th to June 2nd, we're discovering Porto, the fabulous Minho region, as well as Galicia and Spain. Looking at real estate, when you talk about Ponta de Lima, Braga, Guimarães, Guimarães is the capital. Okay, if you go on down, that's my blog. But if you search there, if you keep going down, keep going down, keep going down, my blog has a lot of information
It's a
about Portugal.
lot of
So
great reading on here. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's a lot. I mean, it's here to 23. You know, you just passed here. 23 destinations to visit in 2023. Definitely
There we
look at
go.
that. But if you go further down, there we go.
Oh, sorry.
To that, yeah. If you want to go
Further
back
down.
and
I'm going back and
and
down.
further down, because these are, you know, about Cascais, you have real estate and about information about the market, everything. Trade Mission Portugal. There you go. And
That's
it's a
the
beautiful
one. Okay.
8
All right.
days, 8 days, 7 nights, all-inclusive itinerary,
Woo.
and look at it to see what it's a cruise on the Douro River, wine museums, estates, everything's included. Great seafood in Spain, delicious. And if anybody listening knows that Rocamar in Bayonne is one of the best places to have seafood there as well, right on the water. If anybody knows Porto, having lunch at one of the most exquisite restaurants, Uva by Calum, right on the water. Beautiful. That's one we did last year. Actually, that was a longer one. So you want to join and participate up until February 10th is the early bird reservation. It'll be open up until the end of March, but only maximum 15 people as well. That's because there's only 15 people that fit on the boat. It's the Rebilla boat that we're going to do a cruise on the river. So, but reach out to me because it's a beautiful, if you want to discover the Minho region in Porto, the northern region, when we do other events throughout the rest of the year, it is for other parts, whether it's Silver Coast or whether it's down
Beautiful.
by
Thank you for
Lisbon,
that.
Algarve. Absolutely. Thank
There
you.
you
Thank
go.
you for that shameless plug.
No,
In addition
no,
to
you must. You go. I mean, there's such a good resource your website as well with the blog there as well. So thank you very much, Tony. John, newly here, back in Portugal. Delighted to be here. I think. First impressions. What's it like then to have bought a home? I mean, it sounds like everything's fine. It's going well. It'll be ready for you to move into. But what is it like when you've been wanting to come back and now you landed? What are some of the things people won't have figured? Like Tony was saying before, you don't know what you don't know. What have you discovered in this process, and how are you finding your feet?
Well, I would say, and this is maybe a little bit of advice for folks too. We came June of 22, mid-June, for when our initial scouting trip, and that's actually then when we signed our purchase agreement. So there was the initial research that we had done all prior to that, and then the experience of buying the house. But it was not done sight unseen or just on a lark or something like that, because it was definitely a part of relationship building that we had already, it was through Vitor and through a good friend of his, Vera, and the builder is a good friend of hers, Delphine, and Delphine is a high school close mate with Fernando, whose house that I'm renting. So it's all interconnected. And so our circumstances are unique that way. But, part of the buying process, you might not be in the same situation we are, but it is a matter of learning or knowing who you're working with and trusting your builder, trusting your realtor, and that sort of thing. Like if you're working with Antonio, you're getting to know him through this means, that sort of thing. So you get an impression of who you're working with and can trust them. But so we had that. But furthermore, beyond that, I came back in October for 2 weeks to do some further setup and verification of things and checking with the builder, but also to lay the groundwork of all the setup kinds of things, like where are the stores, where do you get appliances from, what are the different alternatives, where do you get furniture, what are the different places for because all of those kinds of things that will be an issue when you do come. So that's when I bought a car at that point, and then had friends, Bob and Viv, who could store the car and start it up once in a while. So that way, when we came now, a lot of those little setup kinds of things have already been addressed. So we knew where to go to get some furniture. So we purchased a sofa and some beds, and they'll be coming later on, because some of the things you don't know, like you don't know what you don't know. Like here in Portugal, at least from my experience, most cases with furniture, you don't just buy what's on the floor. They have a large warehouse where it's all in stock, and then you just get it the next day. It's all custom made, or a lot of times, like, it's not going to be coming for 4 to 5 weeks. So you need to plan ahead and have that arranged. So that was a significant deal for me. With I'm 6'2", which is about 190 centimeters, and so getting the right
Custom
size
made bed, right?
I was thinking I was two. I was guessing I was 2
Cherry
meters.
picking, John.
Yeah,
John, you're
so-
good for cherry picking. You're good for cherry picking and maybe apples and stuff.
You're going to get him lots of invitations to fruit picking this summer in Ponte Lima.
No problem with the top shelf stuff, but beds. The longest standard bed here is 200 centimeters or 2 meters, and so I was thinking, oh dear, I need to have like I need at least a 210 to be comfortable or whatever, and this is going to be it's going to take for a long time. I'm not going to have a bed in the house for 4 to 6 weeks, but it's like you check online, and it's like I'm still not perfect with my conversions, and it's like, no, 6'2" is 190, so that's actually fine with 200 centimeters. And then of course with my wife, you want to have maybe a 180 size bed as opposed to a 150. So if it's 200 and that then you can get those beds within 2 weeks, so that's much more doable. So yeah, you gotta know your bed size, especially if you're a big fellow like me.
And what you seem to be saying at the beginning there, John, is building and trusting the network as well. That's been invaluable to you, hasn't it?
It's extremely important to build that network.
Yeah, and just to trust as well, because this is part of the problem, I suppose, when you're in a new country, you don't know who to trust. What have you used to build this fabulous network, by the sound of it? Do you have a great and well-developed sense of intuition?
Well, I like to think so. I think I'm a pretty good judge of character,
You're right,
in terms of who to associate with and not to associate with, or who to just nod your head with, versus let's explore this further.
Yes.
So I trusted you, Carl.
Yes, it's going well so far, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone well enough so far. But
it is an interesting position to find yourself in, isn't it? Because you have trusted a lot, and you've taken a lot of risks. To some other people hearing this story of moving to a new country and buying a new house in that new country, and a car, and the bed, and all the things you've done. These are great big acts of trust, aren't they? But it would appear that. I don't know, there's that quote, isn't there? When you step one step towards Providence, it steps towards you. You seem to have done that as well. Unfortunately, you have been met with the Portuguese abraço as well. Tell us more about that, what you've experienced coming the other way from Portuguese culture, and maybe some of the things that have surprised you about that as well.
Well, I've certainly met a lot of expats in the area, but in addition to that, as I've alluded to, we've made some good Portuguese friends. And so, there's Vitor and Maria, and then there's Fernando and Samaria, whose house it is. Look at the garden back here is just amazing, and so he's an agronomist. He's agriculture pro, and he's going to be my go-to guy. He's told me, anything and everything you ever need or want, just let me know, and I'll help you. So he's going to help me put in my garden, my yard, my trees, my flowers, my orange trees and stuff. He's going to help me plan out the backyard. I sent you a photo, Carl, on your WhatsApp of the view from the bedroom window, and you can see the garden right now is just simply black dirt. So the builders prepped the backyard, so it's just all smooth, perfect black dirt now. So I can either lay out sod or I can plant grass, whichever that is. But you know, having somebody that you can go to, you know, obviously there's lots of great vegetation and fruit trees and things, but where do you get that stuff, and how do you know where to get it, or what the best way to go about what's the best plants for your area, where to put them in your yard, you know, and having somebody who can teach you those kinds of things. I think that's one of the characteristics that's important, is to be teachable and to you know, you don't know what you don't know, but you also, you know, there is a lot of stuff that you do know that you don't know. So I do know that I'm not a pro as far as being an agronomist or being yeah, there's my backyard. So that's
sorry, it took me a while to get to the screen, but this is the new home. That's how they've made it. And the owner of the rental that you're in turns out to be a landscape gardener, and he's very willing to help you create the garden of the
he's
new
a
home.
landscape expert.
How about that?
Yeah, he's got bamboo, he's got bananas, he's got
Is that in your garden?
kumquats, and he's also an ex-cop, by the way.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So he was a GNR retired GNR cop with expert agronomist as well.
Incredible. Now this isn't in your back garden, is it? This photo that we've been sent here. Would be a nice feature.
Yeah,
but I think that's the template over again. And is this the view of the mountains from your new home?
This is my bedroom. Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
So that door there is not a door to my yeah. There's a little glass wall there, so it's a little veranda, but it looks like it just steps out into the void, but it doesn't.
Right. Yes. Well, and this is it looks beautiful, the build there. And Tony, this is the value and the quality that you're going to find. This is where you started out talking to us this morning, right? The undiscovered, best kept secret up there in the north. This is what you can have, a view like that, and this one. You'll have to go to Evora for that view, but and we're talking about 300k for this sort of experience, and that's still doable, Antonio, until more and more people get interested in the media, right?
Yeah, that's
my builder happens to be restoring his new projects. He's restoring a ruin, and he also has new ground that he's building two other new homes.
Incredible. So there's something in the pipeline there as well. Sorry, Tony, go on. What were you going to say about the scene generally there and the quality that we're seeing from John's build?
You know, that's exactly what I was saying. That's about the average price of a home here, a great home, because they're smaller, of course, and everything, you know. Yeah. But 300k right now. Granted, that same home with 300k was probably around 200k 15 years ago, or even less than that, right? Yeah. But now, say an average home, 3 bedroom, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. A quarter of an acre of land, 2,000 square meters or so, or even half an acre of land. And so even with the swimming pool and everything, around 325K. You could buy 2 homes, buy one here in the Minho and buy a small apartment in the Algarve, and go there when it rains here from November through October, through end of February, March. Right, John? Wouldn't you agree? Become a rain bird.
Well, it's February now, and look, it's not raining.
Look at that sunshine there.
It only rains heavily. It seemed like just December and January. That was the end of November through December, early part of January. So it's just 2 months, and it rained no more here than it did down where you are, Carl. You have to admit it.
Exactly.
I have to admit it. Okay, I admit it.
There's no better place, and John will agree with me. There's no better place. I mean, this is where I call home, and I'm happy that I get excited when people discover this region here. And because it really is one of Portugal's best kept secrets. And the truth is that when you, from say February, end of February, March, up until the end of October, there's no other place in the world, and I can live anywhere in the world, that I would want to live than here. Okay, maybe it rains a little more, but then you go away somewhere. You know, you take a
I
break.
think that's a good plan. I love that idea, Tony, of an apartment somewhere, maybe Madeira, for
Madeira, for example.
between October and March,
And
yeah,
rent it out during the high seasons there as an
yes,
investment. Use it because nobody goes to the Algarve or other, even Madeira, unless you go in February, which is carnival time, and or in May is the Festa de Flor. Well, Madeira has so many things going on all year round, so it's a great time. But generally, if you go to the Algarve anytime after like November, December, January, etc., it's quiet. So move there, live there, rent it out for the rest of the high season to the which is a great opportunity. And you're buying two properties. You know, for 300,000, you could buy another one for 300,000 there in a great location instead of spending that 600,000, because you won't have the crowds here, right, John? You don't have the crowds. You go, there's always a table to eat. You know, there's always a place to park your car.
yeah. What a great combination. Good suggestion there. We're coming up on 10 o'clock, so I'll come to some final words from both of you. I just wanted to congratulate Jean with the news this morning. Heard back from EI. Self appointment is February 22nd in Cascais. What do you suggest here, though? This is interesting. Our OLP pleased for you and asking if that was fast. Yep, I was surprised how fast. It's the day after Carnival. My neighbours had invited me to go with them. I have my costume and everything, but they are happy and excited for me to get my residency card. Should one go to one's self appointment in a Carnival costume? Or is that, I mean, that is a really good indication that you're involved in Portuguese life, isn't it? I think. Maybe not. Okay.
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Yeah, you know, if you do go in a carnival, but if it would be great in Madeira, because then you probably get a shot of poncha or something here. So just bring some candy or sweets if you're going to do that, or maybe a bottle of wine to the immigration officer.
All right. Look, the lady of the seven skirts has a business proposition for you, is hiring you for Valentine's, and has a business proposition for you. Cairo Wing, good morning to you. OLP, smash the like button. Please try that, everyone. See what happens. You might just get a broken smashed like button, but we'll see if that ever does anything useful. But let's give it a go anyway. Winter is December and January, not the doom mongering of October to March that you and I are talking about, Tony, this morning.
2 months.
And Seth just wants to see your documentation, not your outfit. Okay, last words then, gentlemen. It's been so good. You know, there's a kind of easygoingness about being with you northern fellas as well. That's another characteristic of the north, isn't it? They say the Alentejo is easygoing and a good quality of life, but I think that's the same up in the north. Last word from you then. Great to have some Tony time this morning. Tony?
No, just, you know, I'm going to be in Punta de Lima. I know what my schedule is like for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm on the 14th. I was just looking here because I knew I had a scheduled appointment there on the 14th, John. So I'm going to reach out to you maybe, which is a week from today, 2 weeks from today, right? No, next week. No, it's Valentine's Day. That's right. I have. Oh my God!
You guys are meeting up on Valentine's Day, and you don't have to pay the 500 euros. I don't think, John.
No charge. But I'm going to reach out to John, and we'd love to meet with him and anyone else. I mean, you know, that's what it's for sure.
Excellent stuff.
So it's always a pleasure, and definitely come back, John, because we need people. It's one of the best areas of Portugal that people don't know about, and you've discovered it. And I'm very happy that you have. Like most people, we've helped over 500 families have moved. I don't know, 600, 700 families move here. And quite a bit of them are in the north there, of course, because they just don't want the hustle and bustle of the cities or the Algarve, etc. They want that place in the sun, the green area, quiet area, close to the city, by a train or whatever. So this area is spectacular. I'm very happy to have met John here. But I look forward to seeing him and anyone else here. Right? We could do a GMP event in Ponte de Lima. What do you say, John? Let's do it.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Please do have a meetup up there. And there is the details. You've got to click on that early bird special before the 10th of February for the trade mission to Portugal. That sounds like a lot of fun. And you can find out more on the other link that I will reposition or repost into the comments as well. So, John, so glad. It looks like you're having a great time. Your dreams are coming true here in Portugal. What do you say to conclude the show today?
Yeah, send San Antonio my WhatsApp information. We can hook up for dinner.
Will do. Yeah.
Now, last closing comment, Antonio. The background of your video there—that's not an Minho. That's the Algarve, isn't it?
That's the Algarve. That's the Praia Donna Ana. I love
Sacrilege.
You know, I think when the first person, yeah, I'll put one up.
We need to get
a Villanova.
Replace that with a Minho area.
River.
The Minho River, perhaps then next time. Okay, I'm cutting and pasting your business card. Sarah's up for joining you on that GMP Northern meetup as well. It's a plan that's coming together. It's like the A team here. And talking of A teams, we've got the Dream Team tonight. If you want to tune in and see Gilda, that'll be tonight at 9 o'clock. And others from Expats Portugal's Dream Team to see you on that tonight from 9 o'clock. Portugal Club from 10 o'clock. Great show. Chabelas from Bairandi as well. And before you go, gentlemen, I agree with the guests. Move north. Lisbon is boring and has nothing to offer.
You stay in Lisbon.
Yeah. I think he's protecting his manner there. And OLP, thanks to Carl, Tony, and John Chacha. I saw a comment earlier on as well about what was it? The best part of Porto is the road to Lisbon. That's what a taxi driver said to me here in San Martino de Porto. We were driving to Lisbon. He was taking us there. We were actually moving, and we were moving in a taxi with a few of our bits and the kids. And I said, what's the best thing about Lisbon? We're moving here. And he said, the road out to San Martino de Porto. It's the best thing about it. The 4 seasons are all different. Some are warmer than others. That's very good. Did you hear about the 12-inch king? He was a great ruler. And Lance, this I think comes from Bob. Lance is not a common name today, but in medieval times, people were named Lance a lot. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great day, fellas. Nice big round of applause for you, and look forward to seeing you again next month. And you as well, John. You're a regular now whilst you're here in Portugal, so we'll see John again. All right. Round of applause. Take care. Bye for now, everybody. Have a great day. Oh, here we go. Here's that Porto sunset. No, very good time had by all there. Have a good day. Ciao for now.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.